What's up, guys? The Dark Knight 360 here, the Dark here, bringing you a match against the Flaming Spade. We found him on Smogon Wi-Fi Battle Finder. It is RU, and this is my completely new team. I actually only have 2 RUs, and then the rest are NU. I didn't even know Archeops turned to RU, but it's all good. So it looks like his big threats could be that Whimsicott, and as you'll see, it actually is that Whimsicott, so great. He starts off with Crustle, and I'm going to start off with Cincino. He retreats first turn, and I go for Rock Blast. It does a fair amount of damage, about half. Didn't get any crits out of those 5 turns, but Skill Link is a very helpful ability on this thing. He retreats, predicting my Tail Slap into Spiritomb, so that was good play. And I'm actually running Charm on this thing. I am so glad I put it on there. It comes in clutch throughout the match. He goes for Pursuit and doesn't do much at all, so I get a nice switch here because I'm pretty sure he's going to switch. And indeed, he does switch into Drapion. So he taunts, probably thinking I'm a coil set, but I am not at all. I'm special attacker, so I go for Thunderbolt. Does a nice amount, not too much though. So he withdraws and goes into the Green Lantern. And Volt Absorb just eats my Thunderbolt for breakfast. He goes for the Scald, and of course gets the burn, 30% chance, but it always happens at least 100% of the time. I Giga Drain that thing, and it does a nice amount, but the special defense of that is really good. And Lefties brings me back to full, but then Burn will get me down. So right here, my taunt goes away, doesn't really matter. He Volt Switches out of here, gets a little bit of damage on me, and he'll bring out Whimsicott. Good play, because now that I'm using Giga Drain, he can just Encore me. So it doesn't do too much, I don't get too much back. He gets a nice amount back from leftovers, and I do as well, but it's all good because I got burned, so that didn't even matter. So then he Encores me into Giga Drain. Good play, because my Giga Drain is doing about nothing to him, and I'm going to have to switch sometime sooner or later. But I didn't want to give him any chances to set up a free sub, so I'm just going to end up staying in, roughing out this burn. And then he Leech Seeds me, so now I know I have to switch sometime soon. I go for another Giga Drain, and it looks like it does even less damage than last time, so min damage is always a favorite pastime of mine. Leftovers gives me some health back, but then he just is sucking that out of me with his Leech Seed plus lefties, and then my burns adding up. So I just say enough, Electros. Bring out Wub 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 Scolipede. And he goes for the Prostitute, aka Substitute, and Leech Seeds me, so that's great. I go for Swords Dance because I know the next turn he's going to have to Encore me. So that will be a nice way to get away that PP. And he gets a little bit back from my Leech Seed. So I retreat, obviously, because he's going for the Encore into Cincino, so it's a nice free switch right there. Get away from that Leech Seed. He only gets a little bit of lefty. He goes for Leech Seed once more. And really glad I brought Cincino along. Can break right through the sub. So it actually takes 2 to break through the sub, which is very unfortunate, because I don't get any crits here, and you'll see how close it gets to killing it. That was always a sad day, seeing a Whimsicott so close to dying, but not quite enough. So he takes back some health from Leech Seed, and he retreats, predicting a Tail Slap again, but I learned. I went for Rock Blast this time, and even with the base 108 defense of Spiritomb, this Rock Blast does a nice amount, so I can use one more and get the KO. But I predict a Sucker Punch right here, so I go for Charm. And you'll see this Charm is just working perfectly, shutting down the Spiritomb. He hasn't gotten an attack off on me yet, but he is getting health back from my Leech Seed. And so I bring out the Iron Giant. He Sucker Punches, so no damage once more. Into Whimsicott. Perfect. Not really, though. So I set up my Rock Polish, and obviously he's going to Encore me. I shouldn't have set that up, I should have just attacked. So I retreat, obviously, I don't want to be locked into that. Bring out Wub 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 Scolipede. And he Encores me, fails. So that's good for me. and he withdraws right here into Crustle once more, the defensive boss. I go for an X-Scissor. It does a nice amount, but not as much as I would have hoped. Even with the Life Orb, it didn't do too much. So I go for the Aqua Tail right here, and it looks like it's going to be about a 2-hit KO, so that was good. He sets up his rocks. Not too worried about them because I don't have anything that takes super effective damage, but this Aqua Tail, though, is supposed to get the KO, barely misses that beautiful KO that I'm hoping for. And he goes for the Rock Blast. He gets a crit on the 3rd. I don't think it really mattered. He probably would have killed me after the 5th, so that's alright. There goes Wub 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 Scolpede. But I sent out Electros, and I just hit him with a Hidden Power because he doesn't know what it is. It's not super effective against him, but I still don't want to reveal what type it is. So I get the KO there. Some lefties, but the burn brings me down to size. Out comes Spiritomb. And I switch out, predicting a Sucker Punch or something like that. And indeed, he does go for that. Obviously, he doesn't have Shadow Sneak or anything because he's not going for any priority moves that would actually do damage if I don't attack. So he predicted that I would go for a Charm. Good play. I didn't want to risk attacking actually and die to a Sucker Punch, so I had to go for the Charm right there. And out comes my Iron Giant. And here is where the work begins. He encores me, gets a little bit of lefties, and I as well get my lefties back. He goes for a Leech Seed here. This was clutch. If he would have went for a substitute, it would have been a whole different game. I go for the coveted Ice Punch and get the kill. So that was great. The Whimsicott is out of the match. Finally, I can begin to wreak havoc with my Iron Giant. So I set up the Rock Polish right here, which will be very helpful for the rest of the match, or what it would have been. He goes for the Pursuit, predicting a switch maybe, but it still did a nice amount of damage without me switching. So I go for the Earthquake right here, and it'll get rid of that Spiritomb. I'm very glad. Get some health back from the lefties, and out comes his Durant. I go for another Earthquake, and this will be enough to kill that Durant. Keep in mind I'm at +2 speed, so that's why I'm outspeeding these things. And out comes Drapion, and he decides to just run right here because he knows that his Lantern can't take an Earthquake, and his Drapion can't either. So that was a 5-2 because he ran, and a little disappointed I couldn't use my Archeops or Ditto, but it's okay. Good match. Hope you guys liked it. Comment, rate, and subscribe. See ya.